Hello and welcome as we journey through one of the most beautiful environments ever discovered, Monster Hunter World. Today, we look through the eyes of Bazelgeuse, B-52, Bazelgeuse, Bagelgeuse, Beetlejuice, Bazelgeuse.
Lava juice, giant steak, birthday cake, large rice, chocolate chip.
Bazelgeuse is a large flying wyvern, in fact one of the largest flying wyverns to be found. Fortunately, due to its incredibly large wingspan, it is able to effortlessly glide through the air and use very little energy while doing so. This allows it to live its nomadic lifestyle, whereby it scours the entirety of the new world in search of monsters and hunters with whom to fuck with royally. Bazelgeuse are known to be incredibly intelligent creatures, capable of mimicking the habits of other animals, like burrowing. Okay, seriously, is this some kind of joke? What the fuck? It has an incredibly sensitive pair of ears, allowing it to detect even the faintest traces of monster roars. Indeed, any large monster found roaring in pain or aggression will draw any local Bazelgeuse directly to it in a matter of moments. This hearing compensates for its eyesight, which is comically lacking, unable to see potential prey mere feet away from the creature. Once it has arrived on the scene, it will let out its signature roar, very similar in tone to classic air raid siren warnings found in the war. It does, however, have the unique property of eliciting one of only two responses from hunters who are faced with the beast. They are as follows. Or, oh, for fuck's sake, did somebody bring dog pot? Tell me someone brought dog pot! What do you mean no one brought fucking dog pots? With the experience of the hunter largely determining which one is used. Now, this strategy of roaring its arrival is a bit of an antithesis to its goal to devour all of mankind, as it gives prey a warning and time to flee before being chased down and destroyed. However, this seems to be because recent studies have shown that Bazelgeuse gives a very low amount of fox. In fact, a brand new discovery on a recent captured specimen has led us deep into its mind, and we can now tell what it is thinking all the time.
I don't give a fuck about anything. Fuck everyone and fuck everything. What? I don't give a fuck. I literally don't give a fuck about anything.
Now, Bazelgeuse does not use its mouth to hunt prey. In fact, its teeth are very ineffective at all but tearing flesh from already deceased bone. What Bazelgeuse will do is employ an incredibly beautiful and destructive biological weapon. Underneath both its head and tail are located a special organ capable of rapidly producing a scale filled with a caustic mix of unstable chemicals. It is then able to detach these from its body, allowing them to drop onto the floor, prey, and basically the fuck everywhere, and then blow the shit out of everything. You see, when exposed to extreme heat or pressure, these scales will react violently and explode. This is incredibly effective a hunting technique because it's fucking explosions. The heat and fire and light generated by them is enough to send its prey scurrying in fear from the beast, making them hapless and defenseless as they are mowed down by its impressive bulk. Indeed, Bazelgeuse throws its weight around quite often in order to batter foes into submission and trigger its own scales. Interestingly enough, it has incredibly resilient flesh when it comes to heat and force, able to destroy its own scales and cause explosions surrounding it with impunity. This combined attacking front makes an incredibly deadly and fucking annoying adversary to face, and most monsters prefer to run away from the creature rather than tangle with it after mere moments of an engagement. Now, Bazelgeuse has been around for a long time. In fact, we have the earliest known footage of his first appearance that has been recorded. Though it does not end there. See, Bazelgeuse has the ability to get really goddamn angry, which will cause a massive increase in internal blood pressure and body temperature. Very similar to Gear 2nd for your fucking weebs out there. Straw Hat Pirates for life. This causes his scales to already be primed, as it were, as the heat from his body starts the reaction of the chemicals located inside them. This means that mere moments after dropping off him, they will in fact explode, making him incredibly deadly to be around. This is his ultimate weapon. With this he will fly into the air and unleash a veritable hailstorm of explosive rain down upon everything below. It does not care about what it hits, who it hits, or where it hits. It only cares about the screams. You see, Bazelgeuse has the ability to sustain itself off the salt of hunters. It's a secondary adaptation that allows it to regain sustenance when meat is not found. You see, if we look at its biological makeup, apart from most of its body being dedicated to pure hate, we do have the salt receptors to be found, as well as a slight amount of sadism. We have the ability of pure fuck you located squarely in the brain. Finally, there is a tiny amount of love for the Spanish Inquisition. And I can assure you, no one on the research team expected this. Bazelgeuse then spends nearly every waking moment searching for its next meal and searching for people's days to ruin. The hate inside of him means that once he has found a target, he will pursue it relentlessly throughout the new world, stopping for nothing and no one until the very spirit and then body, in quick succession, of his intended is destroyed. It is a gruesome sight to see someone chased down like so, but that is nature, and nature is cruel.
I had so much fun making that. But the thing is, we're not done yet. What I thought would be fun is, after the main kind of thing, I want to sort of go over how viable or how close to real-world animals a given wyvern, or, well, creature that I talk about is. So when it comes to Bazelgeuse, you might be like, I mean, it has explosive scales and, like, come on, it's like 40 feet long. Yeah, obviously, we're never going to have oh, well, it's basically a squirrel. But there are a few interesting comparisons. So, firstly, Bazelgeuse will expend a lot of energy in growing the explosive scales, traveling the great distance it does, living its nomadic lifestyle, and hunting the creatures in Monster Hunter. And because of that, it needs to minimize energy expenditure in all other aspects. And the biggest one is flying. It's a bulky creature, and it does have massive wingspan in comparison to the other flying wyverns, as I said, which really helps. But I think this draws a big comparison to the
albatross, oh the albatross!
living bird with the biggest wingspan, and it possesses an unparalleled ability to glide and fly with wind currents, allowing it to go obscene distances on basically zero energy expended. So, if we could say that Bazelgeuse is doing something similar, it would make a lot of sense for him, especially in how he does fly. It would also imply some cool things. If he is capable of going that far on such little energy expenditure, then it perfectly explains why we don't find any of his nests, and in fact, where his species originates from is likely a great distance away, and he travels that great distance across ocean to the New World for the very easy pickings and prey, and then perhaps take it back for a nest, depending on the social structure, though based on how two Bazelgeuse interact with each other in World, I'm going to assume they have territories and keep out of each other's way, but still, it's very cool because it means you could justify him being in every Monster Hunter game from now till the end of time, because he just travels there through thousands of miles because he can. Isn't that exciting news? Apart from that then, the regrowing of scales is a difficult one, because doing it that fast in such mass, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, you've got the axolotl, which can regrow limbs essentially as many times as it wants. Not always perfect, but it's exceptionally good at it. You know when an anime character gets his arm cut off and he's like, ha! And he just grows a new one? That's essentially the axolotl every time it loses a limb, except it takes a lot longer than that. But if you sped that up to ridiculous levels, you could kind of mass grow scales. Making them explode, however, well, that's a different story. Hell, using fire does make a lot of sense, by the way. There are species of birds of prey that wait for forest fires and bush fires to hunt the animals fleeing from them, because animals fleeing from fire don't have much self-preservation instinct kicking in other than, get away from the fire! So it's essentially easy meals. So an animal that can be resistant to and create flame like Bazelgeuse is going to be a ridiculously successful hunter, like Bazelgeuse is. So, fire then. Well, surprisingly, we do have an animal that kind of gets the job done, the bombardier beetle. Promising name to begin with. This thing's really cool. So it combines two chemicals in its abdomen that, when threatened, mix together and get sprayed out in a exothermic reaction that reaches 100 degrees. Yeah, that's how hot this resulting chemical mixture comes out the back of this fucking beetle. So imagine being hit by this. It's so hot that a lot of it just instantly evaporates into steam. It's kind of just like, it gets aggravated, it fires it, and then and you're like, oh! You know, like you've just touched the inside of a hot oven, but honestly a lot worse. And that's really cool. It sprays incredibly warm, corrosive liquid that's steaming off the surface it hits. That's the kind of closest you're getting to natural fire weaponry in real life. But then again, it's not crazy to say an animal, especially in a world like Monster Hunter, is mixing some different chemicals and causing this unstable explosive reaction in each of its scales. So, yeah, that's kind of cool, right? Let me know if you like this. It took a long time to make, and if you did get some fun from it, I'd appreciate it a lot if you could spread it around the place like you've enjoyed it. Just let me know in the comments how you found it. I don't know if it'll be a series, depends on your guys' reaction, but I love learning about animals. I love learning about Monster Hunter monsters as if they were real. I find it fascinating. So even if this was a one-off, I think B-52's a good subject, and I had a lot of fun creating this for you guys. So for now, I'll see you next time. Happy dismembering, my friend, and no, as in like you guys are the friend. Don't dismember Cotton, okay? Oh God, a good boy.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.